Welcome to Off Brand by cocokind. I'm Priscilla Tsai, cocokind's founder and CEO, and each week I get into the real, unfiltered side of building a brand alongside our community and creating substantive beauty products. We don't believe in trying to be anyone but ourselves, and we don't think you should either. So come along as we get real and imperfect, go deeper on topics most beauty companies won't, and get a bit off brand. Hi everyone, welcome back to Off Brand by cocokind. We are joined today by Mimi, who is our VP of Product Development, as well as Maria, our Chief Marketing Officer, who is also on our product development team. And because we just launched our Milky-Soft Face and Body Cleanser, I figured it would be a great time for the three of us to kind of walk you through our process, some interesting facts that you might not have seen or known on this product in particular. We started development of it 18 months ago or something, and there's been a lot of twists and turns. So I think there's always opportunity to share even more behind the scenes. So I wanted to point out a couple of interesting pivots we made along the way, or interesting facts about this product. So first off, I guess I wanted to just share a little bit about the product before I even start here. It's called the Milky-Soft Face and Body Cleanser, and it is a milky gel. And a lot of times people think that milky products will not have a lather, but this one is, and that's why it is that gel consistency, because we actually use this really unique blend of 5 surfactants to achieve this really soft lather. So you will have this lather once you wet it with water or you use it in your shower. And that is really, I think, unique in the market. It's also 13.5 ounces, and we'll talk a lot about this today, but our goal was to basically create a facial cleanser in a body size bottle that you wouldn't feel bad using on your face because it would be really sensitive, skin friendly, but you also wouldn't feel like you're wasting it on your body because you're using something that's in such a small bottle. So that's also a really unique attribute. It's also $18, National Eczema Seal accepted, and it launches in stores at the end of January. So we've been working on this for quite some time. It really is we feel like our cleanser for everyone, because our oil to milk and our AHA jelly are a little bit more they're a little bit more if you know, you know type of cleansers. I'm an oil to milk stan. Mimi, Maria, are you guys? It's okay if you're not not those cleanser audiences, right?
I don't rule it out. I do use oil to milk, but I use it as step 1 of a 2-step cleanse.
Yeah.
So I start with oil to milk to break everything down. And then I want a little bit more of a squeakier clean. So I would then go in with another gel cleanser or something to sort of rinse that film away. And then I would go into my skincare right after that.
Got it. And then Mimi, what about you?
I'm like Maria. Oil to milk is part of my daily or my nightly routine, but I definitely have to double cleanse. So I'll apply that first and then use a different gel cleanser to kind of rinse it off.
And fun fact, oil to milk doubles as a good shaving gel if you forget to pack one.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that before. Does it ever feel awkward telling me that you don't actually use and love a product?
No, you know how I am, so no.
Yeah. Sure. You guys do. You're nope, that's not for me.
No. But hey, not everything is for everyone, right? So that's just, and it's not a no. I think what is maybe it was a little difficult is that you love oil to milk so much. So I think well, it might not be the cleanser for everyone,
right?
Is
first and the second cleanse, and you're absolutely not.
No. I was surprised that you were no, I just stop at that, and I was oh, that's interesting.
But for me, I've been using oil to milk, obviously, you guys know, for years and years and years, and so, but yeah, that was one of the reasons why we decided to do this cleanser, was looking around the room and being here I am, oil to milk stan, waving my hand, and everybody else is yeah, I like it, or yes, I love it for this specific reason, but then I use this product afterwards and I still need something that lathers and, doesn't leave a film on my face. And I'm I love that film, but that was a reason where we're okay, look, we have to, just kind of get with the times, and it's not just very transparently, the oil to milk has not been a growing product for us. the people who love it, but it's not like it's like gained an audience year after year. So it was important for us to kind of retake a shot at the cleanser category in a way that would be more welcoming to a lot of different types of people, especially when we looked around our product development team of 5 and seeing that there's only one like stan, that's usually a good judge of like, okay, we should probably try to do something, a little bit different.
Also cut to, and this is obviously like, well, like we were, I think past, production, like inventories, like coming into the warehouse of Milky-Soft at this point, but then the really feeling like that's the right call when we had everything on social around oil to milk cleansing balm, right?
Right.
And then that became such an unlock for people that are like, oh, so I would use that product maybe, but it wouldn't be my like standalone cleanser, but I actually would use that as a cleansing balm. So I think that really helps solidify that, like, yeah, there's absolutely a place for Milky-Soft.
Totally. So, Mimi, can you share what was like the very first? Well, we always knew it was going to be face and body cleanser, right? We always knew there was going to be like a very strong product value positioning for the customer, meaning like you really feel like you're getting what you're paying for, like a big bottle, really good, sensitive skin friendly cleanser. But what was like the original concept of this?
Yeah, so when we first started out, it wasn't a milky concept at all. Like we knew we wanted, like we were just talking about, like a gel type format. It actually started out with this like nectar inspiration. So we were envisioning like this clear bottle with this beautiful honey nectar like gel fluid inside of it that you could see. And so it kind of played up on this like sensorial gel aspect. And I think we were inspired because we included like nectar in the ingredient list and, combining it with like yuzu ceramides even. And so, yeah, we went through so many different iterations, maybe a good quarter of our different formula iterations were based off of this gel clear nectar influence. And we were looking at, like gel with different surfactants or gel with glycerin because we knew and we were seeing a lot of glycerin focused cleansers in the market that were doing really, really well and people looking for that hydration factor and really starting to focus, learn, and be aware of the wonderful properties of glycerin. And so many of our iterations were, testing glycerin at high levels, without glycerin or glycerin at low levels before we kind of like pivoted into this milky concept.
And the thing about the glycerin products was that consumers were getting such a level of awareness about glycerin in a way that was really exciting because glycerin is such an efficient product, both from an efficacy standpoint as well as cost, because it's a really good ingredient that works well at a low cost, which was great. But I think for us, it was like, instead of just trying to do another one of those types of products, like let's at least like try to carve our own space. And I think milky textures and all of that has become such a desired texture because of how soft it feels on skin. So that was such a great opportunity for us to do a different texture, but actually make it into milky gel, because a lot of milky products you wouldn't think actually has a lather. So that was like a complete redirection from this like very nectar glycerin, like kind of like, that clear gels, not sticky, but, kind of like gooey type of texture, to a milky texture that actually lathers. And so that was like a huge pivot we made. And I remember showing our original concept to our buyers and they liked it. They liked the product positioning, but I feel like when they saw the milky texture and that mock-up, that completely changed it, because it went from this like, kind of like very drugstore concept to all of a sudden it looks very elevated. Like everybody felt like it looked very elevated. And so that was really fun. And we will have to flash a picture of our nectar, like original mock-up. Oh, we actually posted it on social. I forgot about this. We actually posted that picture on social because somebody on social this weekend, I saw said, so is this the original nectar concept?
I do remember that. I think I don't remember why you shared it, but I do remember that.
I like to share a lot of things. No, somebody, I think I screenshotted it. I can't find it, but they were like, so is this the nectar cleanser? I'm like, yes, it changed a lot. That was really funny. Okay, can we talk about also another interesting fact is like someone I actually gifted this to a friend yesterday and they're like, this looks so different from all of your other products. Like what? Like what's the cocokind logo is horizontal? Like, yeah, like let's just how did that happen, guys?
Yeah, no, you're right. I think every cocokind product, the logo is vertical and on the right, and this one is not, it's horizontal across the top. And there's a really good reason for that, because we felt like it. No, we just thought this is it's a big bottle. And
Really
I don't
big
even
bottle.
know if you can really get the sense until you get it into your hands. It's a big bottle. And so we just had all this like empty space, and it just felt so weird having the logo just like kind of off to the side. And so we felt like the logo across the top just really kind of anchored it, and it looked much better and it filled the space. It's a lot easier to read. So, for there were some good reasons, but we think we just, we get sometimes stuck like, well, we always do it this way, so we have to do it that way. And then we're like, you know what? We actually don't have, we can do it in the way that makes the most sense. And that just felt like the right call for this one.
And I think a big part of it was that like we don't have the space to do a horizontal logo on our other products.
No. I mean, on our balms, our eye creams, or serums, it's actually such a small amount of space. It's so tiny.
No.
And so when you actually get a really big bottle, it just opens up a world of different possibilities on graphics and all the rest of it. So it just felt like the right call. It fit this bottle so much better.
I feel like it happened kind of accidentally. Like I think that Hillary on our team who manages our packaging, she like almost like had it mocked up, and it was almost like, oh yeah, this is just like a mock-up. It's not like, our designer or whatever. And we were like, wait, no, we love that. And I think that included the peach logo too, right? Like it was just like, I mean, that's another random thing. Like we don't have a peach logo across the entire line right now, or anything that's not black or white. But
which we looked at for this too, right? We look at white on white. We looked at black logo, and then with something that is milky soft, like that soft peach, and like against this sort of like creamy formula, just felt right. Versus like the black felt too harsh as the logo. So yeah, so it is a little bit of an art and a science, but yeah, the peach, it's not there. It just looked good. It looked the best.
It just looked the best. And we were kind of like, just ignore like all the other quote unquote rules. But I mean, it's just, I guess I feel this way with when people ask me like, how did I start like think of cocokind, the name, and I'm just kind of like, it just happened. It just happened. I don't know. I don't have that big of a, like scientific response here. It's just like, we saw this mocked up, we liked it, and it felt really right for this product, and we'll just deal with it later in terms of the inconsistencies with the rest of our product line. So yeah, that was kind of funny. Can we talk about our like ingredient research a little bit, because that was interesting. We kind of had this whole like, I don't know, just kind of research into rinse off. Rinse off means like anything that like a cleanser that you like put on and then rinses off. Rinse off ingredients, and like just reviewing other cleansers in the market and what ingredients people are putting in there. There are like retinol cleansers and vitamin C cleansers and all types of like active stories and cleansers. But let's talk about like where we ended up, which is just kind of like focusing on trying to narrow in on actives that actually had rinse off clinicals, right, Mimi?
Yeah. So, different people have different theories, I think, right? When it comes to rinse off products and how long you're actually like applying and using it on your face before you rinse it off. And for us, we really went through a few different active ingredients because we really wanted to find something where there was already clinical data. So the raw material supplier already tested it in a rinse off scenario. And how that would benefit the skin. The thing is, as we were going through this process, not a lot of ingredient suppliers actually do like rinse off clinical testing. So like the data that you might get where it's amazing in a lotion or a cream or a serum, the same rules don't necessarily apply when you're just putting it on your face, using it for maybe like 30 seconds and then washing it off. So that narrowed our pool in terms of like the different active ingredients that we could choose from. And then as we kind of went through our list of maybe I would say like 5 or 6 different options, it was really looking at like the different use levels. How is it, after rinse off performing on people's skin? And that's kind of how we landed on the active ingredient that we have in this formula, which is the maize saccharides.
Yes. And I think what's really cool, and I remember meeting with the supplier and like all the clinicals they had on basically like how this ingredient is just a moisture magnet. Like it immediately clings onto your skin with like a second or less than a second of like contact. Like, so it's like you put it on your skin and it's clinging onto your skin. And I think I remember one of the interesting like facts I learned from that meeting is kind of the story about how like your skin barrier is like, quote unquote damaged like anytime you cleanse, like with especially with like non-oil, like not oil cleansers, but like with like anything that like lathers or anything you're rinsing off, anything with a surfactant. Like a whole point about a surfactant is to basically surround like an oil and like lift it off your skin. That's what it's doing. And so you're removing oils, you're removing lipids, and this is what makes, what makes up your skin barrier too, right? So it's not just the dirt, but it's also like the oils in your skin barrier. And like what this particular saccharide ingredient did was basically showing that like, yes, your skin barrier is oftentimes with cleansing very short term, it can be damaged, but then it's like, how quickly does it recover? That's the sign of like a good cleanser when it comes to like its hydration properties. And it was showing how quickly and how much more significantly improved your hydration was and your skin barrier was after 1 hour and even a day after because of this ingredient. So that was really cool because I never really thought, like I always thought like, oh yeah, cleanser shouldn't like impact your skin barrier. A good cleanser shouldn't, but it's actually like, yeah, like any cleanser is like going to be removing those oils and that does impact your skin barrier. So it's actually about how quickly your skin barrier recovers after you cleanse. And for really real terms, it's like you cleanse your face, you ever feel that like tightness or that dryness, like, but it's like how quickly does your skin rejuvenate its own like oils and you don't feel that anymore. And that's typically like, your cleanser can actually impact that whole process and how long it takes for that to happen. So that was really interesting. I also wanted to specifically talk about like just like the kind of like a little bit of like the art in, is it drying? Is it not drying? Because we all kind of had different experience with that, right? And like, that was like a very, very fine line we had to walk. And speaking for myself, like I was using oils milk before. So I'm used to like a whole film of oil on my face after I cleanse. And so I'm like, wow, like this is, there's no film on my face. So I kind of associated that with like my skin feels drier. But for you guys, you use cleansers that did lather. And you were like, nope, it doesn't feel drying at all to me. Well, there may be variations of the different formulas that we tried that felt like more drying or not to you. But we definitely had to like have that debate. And then like I had to really like kind of like check in with my skin and understand like, am I feeling dry or is it just missing this like whole oil film that I'm used to with the oil to milk? But that was like, I do think it's like a real thing with cleansers. Like what's drying for me may be different than, what's drying for somebody else.
Yeah, I think for me, because I am that person who would use oil to milk, but then have to have that foaming cleanser after, because I wanted my skin to feel just like clean slate before putting on anything else. I don't want to feel a film. I don't want to feel anything. I don't want to feel dry or tight. And I don't with Milky-Soft. And I have that kind of softness, but that's sort of for me, like the exact experience that I personally want. I want to know it's like totally clean. Then I can go put every other step on. But unlike you were saying, I really like that little film after oil to milk, and that's perfect. That's all I want. So I could not. I had to get rid of that film and then go into the rest of skincare.
Yeah. I remember like Mimi, your team would constantly be asking me like, but P, like, do you feel like it's drying? Because like everybody else was like, no, it doesn't feel drying at all. And I had a really hard time with that at first. Like it took several sample iterations to like make it right for me too. And I also had to just adjust to it, you know, and then now I actually love using it, even as my like, I mean, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not a double cleanse person. I do not double cleanse.
Okay.
Like, it's like, I know people, I know you guys do, like, I do not double cleanse. I don't double cleanse with this now either. Like, I don't know. I just don't do it. And, even with the oil to milk, I don't double cleanse. With this, I don't double cleanse. And anyways, when I wear makeup, I really like to use this. When I, you know, don't wear makeup, I'm using it. And I kind of flex how much I use too, because I am someone with extra dry skin. So on my body, I use full pump, maybe 2 pumps. On my face, I will use like, if I'm wearing makeup, maybe like a fourth of a pump. If I'm not wearing makeup, it might be even less than that. Like I just like gently push it, which actually leads me to the next kind of attribute of this, is that this is not a stock bottle. And by stock bottle, I mean like, I don't know, I guess, Mimi, how would you describe stock bottles? Just like components that like vendors will like stock, and it's like not unique, right?
Yeah, like it's off the shelf in a sense, where you know, it's a blank, empty slate for you to decorate, but the bottle shape and size and everything already exists, and other people can use it too already.
Yeah. And so we actually specifically custom tooled this bottle for 2 reasons. One, which was like very nitpicky, but we wanted it to be a very stable bottle, because I have had this happen to me where I've had a whole bottle, like even bigger than this, like fall on my feet in the shower, because I'm like pumping it and then it slips and then it falls, and it's like so painful. I have like little kids too, so I'm always, you know, like bathing with them, and it's just like so annoying. So I wanted this to be really stable, and you can pump it with one hand without it feeling like it's going to like slip all over your counter. And so we added this like dome here. It's very shallow, but it's just like a small thing here to just make sure it was really stable. That was the other one part of it. And then the other part of it was the pump, right? We wanted the pump to be like a very easy experience where you could have a full pump, or you can use a third of a pump or whatever, but it just like didn't spring up, you know. And what is it called when like some of those pumps have, is it the spring, like where it's like it just like is like causes way too harsh of like an up and down situation? Is there a term for that, or is it just like?
No, there is, and I'm like blanking on what it is. Hillary could definitely tell us in a second. It's like the spring back or the.
Yeah, Hillary would definitely know, because we were like, that was a big part of this like custom tooling situation to make sure it was like a smooth pump.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember there were so many videos of us and, you know, like we were slacking or sharing it with each other when it came to kind of evaluating the pump and the spring back versus even, you know, like testing all different sorts of fluids, because we were doing this kind of in parallel where we hadn't landed on our formula yet. So like testing with water, testing with thicker viscosities, just to see, right, like how it spit. And then even the bottle, I remember sending videos of like tapping when we were testing the different bottle shapes, because we did even custom or create like oval shapes to see how that could work, and just like tapping it. And we're like, oh, nope, it's wobbling too much. That one's out.
Yeah.
We had that much more narrow sort of oval shape, because we thought like, hey, that might sort of fit certain shower shelves better, but then realized whenever we were doing these like tip over tests, like that tips really easily. And that was an absolute non-starter. Plus the fact, like to your point, you're in the shower and things tip over. You know, you don't want that. And then when you're washing your face, you just kind of are like grabbing for something. You know, you want it to be stable and to know you can kind of control how much is coming out. And to your point, it's not like that quote unquote spitting mechanism, which is just so unpleasant. But especially when you're like, I'm trying to take wash my skin or do, I'm in the shower. It just had to be so functional.
Yeah, totally. And I actually specifically remember when we were talking about tooling and like landing on this specific shape for the bottle, like we were comparing the size impression, which is basically how big a product looks, not how big it actually is, but how big it looks, to other products. And like it does look smaller than a lot of other products of this size, because they're using like, I don't know what they're using, like other like more coatings of the bottle, or it's like a thicker walled product or something. And that was like really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. And like we thought about that, right? But it was like, it just ultimately we were okay with it. And, the net weight is like very clear there, but I will say it is like, it does look smaller than some other products of the exact same size, some that are even smaller than our product. Those, like, the packaging actually looks bigger, which is kind of annoying, but like, we still felt like it has a really good size impression, where you could tell how substantive it was, even if it wasn't like so overpackaged compared to its like competitors. I remember that. And then the other thing that I remember about this was just with the pump, like talking about the realities of like pump packaging is more likely to have issues, right? Versus like a tube or something like that. Like, you're more likely to have quality issues with it. And so, that was definitely something that like this is our first, I think this is our first like pump of this size. Yeah, this is our first like pump of this size type of bottle. Obviously it's like a custom pump. We really tried to engineer it, hopefully as well as we could, but like that is something that we will have to learn. And just generally, products with pumps are more likely to have issues, and you might like have it break off in transit or whatever. There's like all these types of issues that it could bring. There's more like intricacies in the actual engineering of it. So I remember us just feeling like, well, we definitely knew we wanted a pump, so we had to just like work with the manufacturer as much as possible to design it flawlessly. But we also recognize that like there might be a learning curve, and we'll have to see how that goes. But I think we still stand by, the overall experience being something we really carefully crafted for the customer. So one thing on the formula that I did want to talk about, I realized what we forgot, was like the whole scent debate, whether we do a scent or no scent. And so Maria, we put out something on social, didn't we?
We did. We put out on social sort of a bit of a, kind of innocuous poll just to sort of get an idea of different scent profiles that people, preferred. And the reality is that it was really all over the place. Scent is so specific and so personal, and everyone has their, I love this scent and I can tolerate this scent, but I hate that scent. And so when we were thinking about scent, it became really difficult to be like, okay, there is no like very clear winner here, except there was one through line that was, without a doubt, everyone pretty much was like, I don't want a scent on my face. Like, I don't want that, so for body, it could be, vanilla, it could be floral, it could be, citrusy, but for face, it was like, I don't want anything. So that kind of became more of the North Star, I would say, for us, since this is both face and body.
Yeah, totally. And I think it was like at the end, we had 2 approved formulas, one with scent and one without. And the one with scent was like a very, very low level, like tiniest bit, where it was like a hint of a little bit of sweetness to it. And I remember you 2 wanted the scent.
We did. And then we lost that one. It's fine. We really were, Mimi and I were just like staunchly, we wanted the scent. Yeah. And it was very, because I'm not like a big scent person, but it was like very subtle, but it was there, It
was there. Yeah. My husband, Brian, was like, oh, like, this is amazing. I love this. I'm so excited for this product to come out. And I'm like, oh no, but the one that you had, that was the one that we did not choose because we chose the one without scent. So he was also in the camp of like, I really want a scent. But yeah, for me, it's just like, for my face, I just didn't, I think it was like a weird experience, and I didn't mind it at all. Like, I thought it was actually quite pleasant, but it was like, I just felt like for some, of our customers are like really sensitive skin friendly. It's like, let's just err on the side of like no scent here. And if people really, really want us to come out with a scent down the line and this product does well, where it warrants having extensions, we can always do that. But at least just start off with like, kind of like baseline and see how that goes.
Yeah. I'm so curious to hear that feedback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For a bit, if people actually would like a little bit, because Mimi and I still have those samples.
Exactly. I do hear feedback that people want a scented version.
It was really nice. It was nice. There's a lot of directions. I feel like the original scent that we had was like still really nice. So we'll see. If you try the product and you like it and you actually think that you'd want a very, very faint scent to it, just let us know, because we might be already sitting on a formula that's already approved. Okay. So one of the last things I want to talk about was like the obvious, like, just like on paper challenges with this product, not like creating, because we caught the formula, but we always knew this was going to be a low margin product. But I think the first time you actually showed me like the cost, Mimi, I was like, oh, like I was like that, just seeing it in real life. I was like, I don't like, that was a little bit of like, well, we could do this in like a tube packaging to maybe lower the cost. We could do it, we could reduce the size, right? That was ultimately like, should we make this more reasonable of a margin for us by reducing the size? We had like, I remember even in one of our buyer meetings, there was like a discussion of like, okay, like maybe could you do, because originally we had priced it at like $22, right? Or something like that. And they were like, well, like, I think if you got it down to in the teens, that would be better. Could you reduce the size? And we ultimately lowered the price without reducing the size at all. But there was a discussion of, should we lower to like 8-9 ounces, where it's still like a really big facial cleanser, but like starts to get borderline for like a body, wash. And yeah, I mean, that part was, I would say it's a big risk. Like it's a big risk we're still taking, right? Like the reason why we ultimately approved it was because we feel like, okay, if it's $18, that's like a really strong, and I know price points are very subjective, but like it's a very, like I would say really reasonable, good price for this formula. And that it would have like a really high chance for success being volume and like customers loving it. And then that volume would help us just like leverage this product and other, costs that we have in our company. And I think that's like a very much like a TBD bet. Like we'll see in 6 months kind of where it landed. But yeah, the first time you showed me that cost, I was like, I don't think I was happy.
No, you're not.
It was like, this is like, we talked about this, but this is really, and then when you first showed me cost, and then later, like I think 2 months later, we lowered the price $4 or something. And so, but by that time I had already digested the situation. And I really think that's the right bet. We'll see. Well, I think that's like all the interesting points I really wanted to discuss here today. It's like a product that we really stand by. We think it's like the formula, the kind of like, I hate saying this word, but it's like very luxurious. And you know what I mean? Like it just like feels like really, really like an amazing experience. The experience of really what we wanted to create, and the texture and the feel and the after feel and the lather, because it doesn't have a scent. So like a lot of these like in shower cleansers or body cleansers, like they have a scent that they can rely on to make this experience. So we don't have that. So it's like the bottle, the pump, the formula, the like lather, everything, the touch on your skin, like that is what we really wanted to craft for the price point, for the size of bottle. Like we are really like putting a huge bet on this product and really excited about it. And there are a couple of things I just wanted to like kind of like administrative things I'd want to leave people with. It's launching at the end of the month in stores, although it launched on our website and Ulta.com earlier on January 13th this month. This podcast is coming out a week after, so I'm getting confused on my dates here. That's actually tomorrow. We're launching this tomorrow. But it's launching in stores at the end of the month. And it also is National Eczema Sale accepted. I think I did mention that at the beginning of this call, but I did want to make sure to remind that, because we got that acceptance after we ran our packaging, which often happens. So I don't know if you all may notice this, but like a lot of times when we launch products, we like it's National Eczema Seal accepted, but it doesn't show on packaging until like later on in the year. And that's because like sometimes the timing of the certification just doesn't work out with when we have to produce something. And then I wanted to talk about, the unlocking thing. This was a big thing that like, I try not to bother you guys late at night ever, but this was really one where it was like 9 p.m. and I like several people got on the phone because the unlocking experience, I will say, is fidgety, and we are working on this, but counterclockwise, think counterclockwise. That's all you have to know is like counterclockwise to unlock it. And really like the supplier and we have done like extensive tests. We, want it to basically unlock within 1 or 2 turns max counterclockwise. If you do accidentally turn it clockwise, it just makes that like number of like turns for unlocking it a little bit more. So we added in a sticker later that has that arrow to show people, which I think is necessary. And we worked on like teeth, which is like a weird word, but like in the pump, there's like these teeth, and that like makes the grip for unlocking a little bit stronger. So we will improve that experience, but just think counterclockwise to make sure you unlock it easily. Did I miss anything? Did I say price point? $18?
Yeah.
Ulta and Target? Yeah.
Ulta and Target, $18. End of this month, but already available on cocokind and ulta.com.
And there is, fun fact, on the week of January 18th, it's supposed to be on the windows, like displayed, not by itself. Oh my God, that would be amazing. But like, I think it's like one of many products displayed on the windows at Ulta. So I will definitely be checking that out. Well, we hope everybody loves this product. We certainly put a lot of work and love into it. It's definitely still, it's been an amazing learning experience for me personally, of just like developing a product like this. And I really think the team did an excellent, excellent job. So excited for this to hit the market. Thank you, everybody, and we hope you love it.